In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the Wednesday, October 11th meeting of the Franklin Township Trails Advisory Committee was made, was posted on the Township's website and electronically transmitted to the officially designated newspapers, indicating that this meeting would take place at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, October 11, 2023, at the municipal building. Okay, great. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
All right, Tara, would you like to do the roll call?
Sure. Vanessa Jones.
Present.
Anne Marie Arleski.
Present.
Jim Kolagowski.
Present.
Christopher Gonda.
Present.
Jignasha Patel is not coming, correct? John Hurlingen can't make it either. And are we missing anybody else?
No,
Is
that's
that it?
it right now.
For right now. Okay.
Yeah, Jignasha was asking if she could join online, but that's not an option today.
No.
Okay. Can we have a motion for the approval of the September minutes?
I move that we approve the September minutes.
My second.
Any questions, any conversation?
I did read them, I don't have any.
Same here.
Yeah. Okay. We have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move we approve the minutes.
Or a vote. Oh, did we already do that? What was the,
No,
what did you forward first? And then I seconded something. I thought it was to approve the minutes and then we vote.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry, thank you.
I'm just in a positive mood.
Right, so we have to approve it and then we talk about it and then now
Make a
all in
motion
favor.
and then vote.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Well,
abstain?
if I wrote the minutes, do I can approve them as well?
I
Both
think so.
your
You can,
amendments?
Yeah.
Aye.
Definitely if you wrote them, yes.
No.
I wasn't sure if I had to abstain because of.
Hearing no nays and no abstentions, the minutes are passed.
Okay.
We have a motion to open for public comment.
I move we open the meeting to public comment.
Second.
All right.
Hi, Chuck Martin, 10 Woodlawn Avenue, Montclair, New Jersey. It's good to see you. We're just here to talk and answer questions as you'd like. We at the last minute got the opportunity to drive down. We had to retrieve our car from the dealer to the shop.
Oh, nice.
It worked out. So
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have you.
it's good to be here. It's good to see you folks.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a question to the public. Do you have a status on what you've done with the trails at Van Wickle House? I went to this Somerset County
yeah.
historical thing, so I was talking to someone and someone knows you and they're talking about the trails mapping, so I don't know
Well,
if it's something we can continue because there are also these other houses that they are interested in trails to their cemetery.
Oh, really?
And they'd like to, was it on South Middlebush, they want to connect the two houses.
Yeah.
But it goes through Puskis's property, and
Yeah,
he
he's
said
leased,
no.
yeah.
Yeah, Puskas leases that property.
Yeah, so there's a couple trails
State.
that we can tie in with the historical,
Yeah.
Meadows Foundation, and I know you were working with the,
Well, all I can tell you is that earlier this summer, I worked on that trail. There was a lot of multi-floor roads covered with brush and whatever, and the mowers were not going back there. That trail gets wet now because of the reconfiguration of the drainage patterns after Ida, I guess. And so, but it's still a usable trail. It just can't be used all the time, I guess.
Right.
And I cleared the trail back. I think it's actually a loop that kind of goes past the garden. There's a wooden bridge, which is a heavy wooden structure.
Right.
And then the trail goes past that point and apparently loops around in that township property there, which is, in sort of semi-wetland, a bordering wetland area. It's a nice marsh, actually, in terms of, people interested in wildlife and so on. And an Eagle Scout put interpretive signs around that trail. I went in, cleaned off the signs, and put their plexiglass covers back on. But I haven't looked at it for a couple of months. I imagine now it's grown up again. But you know, it just probably needs some routine maintenance more than anything, and you know, and maintaining the signs and so on. Another part of the trail goes across the boardwalk down to the canal on that side, and you can go down to the canal on the bank that's not the towpath, and you can actually walk in both directions several ways. It would probably be nice to make a trail, make that part of the trail heading upstream connect with the parking lot in that area by the picnic table.
So, you're talking about the Van Winkle house on Eastern Avenue?
On Eastern Avenue.
Or the gardeners that were
Right,
going on Sunday?
right.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that what you were talking about also?
Well, no, that's what I was asking because
Okay.
because
Or middle-
I know Chuck had done some work, but I wasn't sure
Okay.
what the status was or how far he had gotten.
Okay.
Because, yeah, I did go to this history thing, and the house I went to was the Wyckoff Garrettson
Yeah.
house.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's right there.
South of the bush.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And like I said, I was talking with someone there. Tara's involved with her now.
Probably Ann, what's her last name?
Suann.
Joanne.
Yes.
Suann, yeah.
Suann, and I've talked to her several times. She's the chair or de facto chair of the Meadows Foundation, and which is another 501c3 volunteer organization that has raised money and done really good things to try to preserve historic structures in Franklin. And as usual, they're, you know, always looking for more money because they're strapped for, you know, they get strapped for cash because they got
No support from the town.
no support from the town. In fact, they lease, as I recall, these properties from the town
But for a nominal fee.
for a nominal
It's
fee.
not-
Now, I don't know about the Van Loos Sedam house. That's the one
Yes, they do.
on the corner of Middlebush and Skillman's.
They do, yeah, they lease Van
Okay,
Winkle, Wyckoff Garrettson, Van Loo, and Hageman.
Hageman, okay.
Yeah.
So that little parcel there that the house is on is actually township property.
Right.
The field next to it, which Bobby Puskas plants just corn on, is actually state
Right. State
property. That's.
yeah. That we lease from
And-
the state. So we, the township, lease it from the state, we sublease the property to the Meadows.
Well,
For the house.
so the
The house.
Meadows property
Yes,
is actually also state property
yes.
that is leased by the township.
Right.
And
I don't know
then
why
released-
we're in that lease. It's like a 99-year
Okay.
lease or something. I don't know why that was done before a while back. I'm not
Yeah,
exactly sure what the
yeah.
reason.
For all
is.
of the meadows?
No, just for that one property, Van Loo Sedam.
Van
We
Loo house.
lease from the state. The other ones are owned by the township
Is
and we
that,
lease
is
them
that
to
house, is that
Meadows.
house near 6 Mile Run?
Yeah,
So that's, they bought it all for
It's-
the reservoir site?
yes.
Okay,
Right,
got
But
it.
why we lease it from the state, I don't know. That I'm not sure of.
No.
But
You know what I mean? It doesn't, instead of just having it as state property, like, in Franklin, we lease that state property from them, and I don't know exactly why.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, Sue Ann said two things, like, she would have liked a trail between the Wyckoff and the, what's the other?
Hageman?
Hageman.
Hageman, but again, it goes through
Goes to the
Puskas'
Yeah.
state property.
and he's against it, so
Yeah.
that's probably not gonna happen. But she said there's also a cemetery on the Wyckoff property that she'd like a trail, I mean, it'd be great to have a trail that people could go there
Yeah.
and be interpretive more of the, you know, the
And now
history.
that is township property.
Yes.
in that
Yeah.
particular-
The cemeteries.
I've tried to research who owns what in Franklin for several years now, and it's hard to do, particularly since the township in their interpretive maps have blocked out all the owner information on these properties as well as classifications. It would be really great if the township would at least put the owner information back on for township-owned property, county-owned property, and government property
Right.
that's in Franklin Township. There's such a patchwork, and it would be really great if all three governmental groups could work together, you know, to
Yeah.
produce a coherent system of trails.
Yeah?
But
And,
that, I mean, that really sounds like a great trail thing. I mean, it's historic, it's nature, it encompasses a nice part of Franklin.
That's what you're saying, that's just
Yeah.
Suann was saying, it's like, you know, it could add something, if you had that to a cemetery, then if you can have the two
Yeah.
houses connected, people
Yeah.
could walk from one to the other.
So it's not that it can never be done, it's just that the lease with the farmer, when that is done, then the township could say, okay, we're not gonna renew that lease, and because we're gonna focus on building this trail, or they amend the lease, or they decide they want us to lease it, and then no trail. But now that he's under the terms of a lease, you know, we can't basically evict him off for no reason, you know?
Those leases could be very
the
long
lease-
too.
the
They could
lease-
be.
the lease on that property, as I understand it, comes from the state.
It does, that one comes from the state directly to him.
And,
In between those two houses.
Yeah,
I think I remember even talking to Patricia Gillespie about
Mm-hmm.
that.
I think that might have been like a 15-year lease, I think.
And
Yeah.
the lease terms for the state are different than the lease terms that the township
Mhm.
produces. For example, the state lease terms, they only lease tillable acreage,
Right.
whereas the township leases the entire parcel of land. So any forests around the plowed land is still under the
Mhm.
lease
Okay.
and under the governance of whoever's leasing it. So
Okay.
anyway.
So that's something to think about.
No more work
Yeah.
to do to.
Right, let's get Mark back, he always wants more trails.
Yeah.
The entrance cemetery, right on Halloween, right? Let's just hope it gets into,
It just makes so much sense, and what a great selling point. Historical, it's,
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean, just so many
yeah.
great things in one place.
Yeah.
Do we know when that lease is up?
I
don't expect
don't,
you to
I can
know right
find
off
out
the top of your
though.
head.
No, I can find out
I'm just
next
curious.
week, yeah,
Yeah.
because while we, meeting with Bob, so yeah, I can ask him. But I'm sure it's on for a while, I would assume,
I
so,
know, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So, gonna have a motion to, close public comment?
why don't you make the thing, I'll second, it'll
You
be
can just keep the
easy on the
pattern.
notes.
Yeah.
I move that we close it.
I second.
All
Okay.
right, all in favor?
Aye.
No
So
abstentions,
Chris,
no
if
nays.
you- if you're not sure, that's how it was done. Anne Marie, Jim. Aye.
Okay, now the next section on our agenda is the Pathways and Trails Plan.
Okay, so I have been working a lot on the Pathways and Trails Plan, really, and I shouldn't say I have basically been trying to just get the maps so that I can finish up what I have to do. So, thank you all, I know you all did a lot of the trails mapping this week, which was great. So I do have some maps that AT gave me, but first, let me just back up real quick. So first, I went through the existing Pathways and Trails plan, which is basically just done except for the trails lengths and me putting the new trails mapping in. I had to add, Chuck, remember when you added in some of the assets about what would you find on the trails and
Yes,
things
yeah.
like that? So most of those were done, and I must have stopped at one point and been like, okay, I'll come back to it. So I added the rest of those in today, so that's all added in. So really, the only thing I need is the final trail lengths and the final maps to be able to just, I mean, the text is done, it has been done. It's just a matter of waiting on that. So, so anyway, so that
That's
moving forward.
fantastic. Thank you so much.
It's, I wish we could just like get it out, but it's like without the final maps, it's difficult.
You're gonna tell us what's left?
Yes, so first let me tell you, when I came in today, these were in my mailbox, but I wanna look here first. So AT made changes to the maps based on our last trails meeting, where you all gave your feedback on the maps, so he gave me one copy of this. Vanessa, I'm gonna pass this your way, and you can look at that first. So that's the Bunker Hill map. I'm gonna put it up on the screen too. But I just have to see which one he made. I guess it must be this one. Let's hope. Okay, I'm like, okay, I think that looks like that. Yes, okay, now. I'm gonna have to just go section by section because it's kind of long. So I sent him all of our comments right off of our last meeting, which was that there was what do you call, oh my gosh, symbols. It just went right in my head, the symbols for parking and kiosks, they were way too big, they were in bad places, you know, so I asked him to move those, and it looks like he did.
Okay.
I also, the original color he had for the brown trail, I think it was like a pinkish or whatever, so he changed that to brown, and it's the correct brown, not the other brown. And I did ask him to change the colors so they match the other maps, which he did. We asked him to remove the parcel lines off of all the maps, which he did do. And I think we had asked him to put in, Route 27, South Middle Bush Road. We asked him to put in the parking area and kiosk up here, which he did. So all of the requests for Bunker Hill and Franklin Park have been made in this map, unless you see any other issues.
I think it looks pretty good. I think it's hard to see the brown trail,
Yeah.
and if he could turn the border line from black to white on that brown trail, I think it would be easier to see.
To put a white outline around it?
Well, no, you see how all of them have a black border.
Mm.
All of the trails have a black border. But I think that and it works because it's on a lighter background.
Mhm.
But for the brown one, I think it might pop more if that's possible. Like I knew when you do frame, when you put borders around your photos, like you can change the color of the border.
Yep. Yeah, he can do that.
Well, it doesn't look that bad up there, but the printout, it's harder,
Yeah,
the
it's kinda
contrast
dark.
is worse.
Okay, yeah, I can have him do that. That's easy, that's an easy fix. That takes a few seconds. So, let's see.
And I don't know that the once again, like the I and the P are close together. Like the kiosk is a little bit away from, the parking area at Bunker Hill, but I don't think it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? You said
They're
there's,
separated a little bit.
yeah, because the kiosk is past the gate,
Oh.
past the gate. It's not in the parking lot.
Okay, so that kiosk sign should be moved
Just up a little bit.
up a little bit.
Just up a little bit.
Just to separate so people know there's two separate things.
Yeah, and it's a little, right, it's just a little further away, so it makes sense to have it. If it was in the parking lot, I think that would be perfect,
Okay,
But it'd still
but,
be good to separate it, like Anne Marie said, like two distinct.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that works, I can do that, or I can ask AT to do that. All right. And then we got up here, which is relatively simple, I think, for the most part. Now, because this one is, like, basically it was just making the amendments, we have the trail lengths, and I already added these into the plan. So,
right,
so that-
Fewer and fewer changes each iteration.
yeah.
Two, and I
Alright.
think this should be it.
So that's good for Bunker Hill then.
I think so.
All right,
Yeah.
so then this is Demott. Now, the only changes we had for this one, I'll pass it this way. Demott, same thing, we had asked him to get rid of the parcel lines in the back, which he did. We also asked him to add in Inman Park and where the towpath was, which he did. And we basically said just keep like some of the main township roads on there, not all the roads that were on there. So I think he made all those changes, so I think this one looks pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah. There's one thing I like about this map that isn't uniform with this map, is that the main roads are more apparent. Like here we can see 27, but kind of Bunker Hill Road and South Middle Bush Road are pretty dark. Can he
Okay.
add those or have
Oh,
the
like
same
in
style
the
finish.
bubble,
Yeah.
like in a call-out
Um,
bubble?
Not in the bubbles, but so you can see the lines for the roads. Is it coming up here? Here you don't see as many
I don't know what
lines.
you mean.
for-
Oh, like the lines
Yeah,
of
see
the
the actual
road.
The road
Yeah.
gets lost.
So you don't see
Oh,
the
okay.
shapes. So you know it goes this way, and we
Yeah.
know what we're looking for, but
I understand
for
what you're
those who are
saying.
not familiar.
I can ask him if that, so if it's part of the parcel layer, he won't be able to extract it.
see.
However, if it's a road layer that's on there, he
Yeah.
can like make some changes to it, so let me ask.
Okay.
Look at that, the pointer there. Isn't that amazing? The pointer, you see
Yeah,
it?
no, I've seen that.
It's a golf
too.
course.
Yeah.
What are you talking
Oh, I
about?
never got.
That's Quailbrook, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
on the golf course?
It's like an arrow.
But it
Yeah.
looks like a pointer, right? It's
Yeah.
like, what is it pointer?
Oh,
Yeah, I saw that.
wow, I never noticed
It's an
it.
arrow, I've never.
But here, if you take a look here, yeah, it's Quailbrook Golf Course, so that's
Yeah.
why.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell him then Demont is good to go.
Yeah.
And then after the changes of Bunker Hill, I don't have to bring it back again, right? I mean, that's probably it for that. Okay, so then once he makes that, we're good there. Demont is good to go. Excuse me, okay. All right.
Just I'll throw this out, it has nothing to do with anything but with, except Demont Lane, but Sue Ann from the historical, she said that'd be great to have like a timeline,
Oh,
since it's a
yeah.
straight walk, so you start off with something on Easton Ave, and then by the time you get to, whatchamacallit?
Yeah.
Yeah, what-
I think I mentioned at our last meeting in New Brunswick, they have around that J&J property, it has like quarter mile, half mile, and it's nice because as you're doing it, like, you know it's built in, if, you know, I like
She was
that.
more or less talking about Franklin history, and also, you know, like, you know, here's when
Oh, I thought you
Kodak,
meant
here's when the
distance.
internet, here's this, you know, this is World War II.
You're talking about historic
blah, blah, blah,
course
blah,
history, that we-
historic. I mean,
That is a good idea.
That is a good idea. I like that.
but I told her, says, you're gonna have to leave something for
And
the
actually,
future.
distance-
What happens when you know, you run out of
Yeah, yeah.
then you have to start compressing everything.
Yeah?
Distance, people, walkers would probably like distance markers.
Oh, yeah.
I think walkers would like distance markers
Right?
as they move forward.
Good idea, Anne Marie.
That sounds so smart.
Colonial Park is up on the screen and Anne Marie has a paper copy of it. So again, we made the changes from last time. So basically you can see here, we asked about some of the colors be changed. We wanted the rose garden pointed out. This looks a little big to me. The parking signs were too big last time, so we asked that they be fixed, which he did. Now again, this is a county park, but we just happened to map, walk it on our own, and we can absolutely put it in there, so being that it's done. And so everything is on here, I think now, that we had asked for. The only thing I'm gonna ask for, oh, and he took the parcel lines away again, and left like kind of the main roads here. This bothers me. For some reason, it's just like the way it's, I'm just gonna ask that that be like modified, but other than that, I think it looks good.
I haven't hanging it.
No. Admiring it.
Okay?
It's a lot to take in, even though it's a county park, there's a lot of little loops and things there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see from memory if it,
Could you put, well, like towpath access? I mean, because there's the bridge.
oh, excellent, excellent.
That's what there.
Yeah,
But
so
at
you
least
put
if it-
towpath over here, but you think it should be,
Well, maybe one of the little signs, maybe a little
Bridge.
smaller than Rose Garden, but if it
Right.
just said towpath access,
Yeah, that's important.
crossing or whatever,
There's also the
or towpath bridge.
kayak.
Yeah,
Access.
there's a dock there, right by the bridge.
Is there another parking
Oh.
lot by the Rose Garden?
there is,
There is.
yes, there is a parking
Yes.
by the Rose Garden.
And then
But
north
Jesus
is
of that
this in
garden.
here, or is this, oh, wait, this is the main parking lot, there is a parking lot over here somewhere.
No, but your towpath
There's two
access.
parking lots.
Right,
Yeah.
but if
Parking
you're-
lot
Oh,
by
yeah.
the Rose Garden, there's parking lot by the perennial garden.
I like that
And I'm
idea.
not sure which one is the,
You're right, yeah.
and there's also that building there. It's the Ranger, it's another little
Yeah.
Ranger building, it's a public bathroom.
Right. All right.
But then you can add bathrooms like where the red circle is. I think there's also
Oh, there is,
bathrooms
there's
there too,
bathrooms
with the
in there.
playground and stuff like that. I don't know how much we want to put on there.
Yeah, no, we can't put all, well, first of all, it's a county park, so we don't wanna add in everything, we really shouldn't.
Okay,
But I do agree with you, so if we put where the restrooms are and where the rose garden is, we probably have to
parking
put
lots.
them. The parking lot, yes, but you're right, we would have to put the bathrooms by where they're in the main park, and then we're starting to add a lot.
right.
Yeah.
But the parking lots, I think, should be there for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And the
for
bridge,
sure.
so we can add that.
So,
I'm a little confused by that, where they are, to tell you the truth.
Where what?
Well, the rose garden is there, that's cool. So the parking lot's in front of the rose garden.
Yeah,
And then there's the perennial garden.
let's see.
Yeah, a little bit further up Meadows Road, a little north. Is that on the map? Because that's a garden and parking too.
Oh, you're right,
You can see
yes.
those
There's those two
cars.
parking lots there. None of which are on the map, which is curious.
Yeah. Well, this is where the perennial garden is, over here.
Right, you see that little circle? and-
Yes, this is, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, but you're right, where's the parking lot?
Maybe, it is that, it's that.
It's this.
It's this.
This here, or
It's
this?
those
It's
rectangles.
here.
It's this,
Right
this
here.
is the parking lot,
Where's the
right,
parking
yes.
This is the parking lot.
I see it, this is the parking lot. Okay, all right, so there's one parking, oh my
That's
gosh,
pretty
right
fake.
here.
Yeah, I know where that is. You know how many times I used to get well water from that place?
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
and
Is
now
there a
they have the
spring
bocce
somewhere?
courts there.
Yeah, they used to have a
Yeah.
a little tap, and you just bring your gallon jugs and fill it up.
Is it still there?
No,
Oh.
no.
Did it get polluted or something?
No, I think probably just the cost
No.
of having.
testing it.
Testing, yeah,
Yes.
because I used to do well water testing, and it's expensive. I mean, especially if it's for public use.
Yeah?
There's probably a liability issue.
Liability, well, if you test, you're good, but it's expensive.
Is, this must be the, is
E.
this the
coli all
parking
the
lot right
time.
here? Yes, it is, because this is where you
Iron,
walk off
lead.
and that little kiosk is over here.
Copper.
So this here is the parking lot, right? Because you
But
come
the
up.
parking lot, that's strange.
Is it or no? Because that, yeah, if that's the rose, this is definitely the rose garden, and you're walking up here, right? But you drive your car, and then I think here, that's where that little kiosk and you walk through, I think
Yeah.
that's where that is,
And that
and this
old
is the
house.
little parking lot. But it doesn't look like it, you're
No,
right.
it doesn't.
I remember there being a lot of trees.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
And the parking lot is right in front of it.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it's this. I think, and I think like the gate is right here.
because remember the rose garden is two spots. It's
Right.
rose garden and then it has
The back
Township
area,
Boulevard.
yeah.
Well, you can see your road coming off that little lane, because
Yeah.
that white streak through there,
Yeah.
the parking lot's just right at the end of it, it's right at the
Right,
Yeah,
end of the end of the yellow.
where the yellow
right,
fingers are.
right,
There's another large parking lot to the north of it,
right.
that's not on the map, and that's where the restrooms are. And it's also where people who would
now.
put in their kayaks at the dock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's
come
where
down
they
that
park.
long hill.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get on here, the bridge for sure. That needs to be on here, the other parking lots, absolutely.
So I know we talked about next to the canal, like DNR canal access point, that's what Jim was suggesting.
Oh.
Bridge,
Bridge or-
towpath bridge.
Okay, because I was just wondering if we should have the same thing at Demont Lane, the end of Demont Lane here.
Mm. Oh wait, I have it up here.
I know the trail wasn't done all the way there. We could if we wanted to, but at least I think just have the access point there.
Okay, oh, so right now it says DNR canal towpath, and you wanted to say the same language, that's gonna be on.
Well, the same thing here, right? So we're saying there's an access point or a bridge, like so people know that it connects there.
Got it. But that would be on this side.
I would say put bridge.
What do you mean on this side? Oh, on
Otherwise
that.
people think they can drive.
Right, you're right.
Good idea.
Oh, yeah, footbridge.
Google Maps, what is it,
Footbridge.
yeah.
Tragic end.
Oh, yeah. That's what happens.
Okay.
Follow your GPS.
Excellent footprint.
All right, so let's do that then. Okay, that works. And Colonial Park, so any other changes to Colonial Park?
Just a bit of a mystery, the Rose Garden and parking. This is parking by
Yes.
Rose Garden and parking
Oh,
by.
it's
Yeah, they have it, they saw it first.
Oh, you saw it first, okay.
All right, let me just see if I can find this real quick. Colonial Park. All right, now we gotta go to the other side. Okay, all right, now, Rose Garden, let's see if I can do this without my glasses. Where am I? Here's Colonial Park, right?
And you're just above where the,
I'm above, right?
yeah, your box is right over the parking lot, where that pop-up was. So,
Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah, okay, so wait, this is Colonial Park, like
Yep.
Maine proper.
and that's Weston, is that?
Mettlers.
Mettlers.
Mettlers Road. Oh,
So
okay,
across
so we're.
the street?
Yep,
Yeah.
crossing, okay.
The lot looks clear in this image.
Okay, crossing. Here's the parking lot. Here's a rose garden. This is the parking lot.
Oh.
Which, yes, it kind of, in this picture, when I saw it, I was like, oh, it looks like lungs, right?
Yeah, it does.
And that's what, yes, that's what it reminded me of. Because when I was looking here, I was like, oh, that looks like lungs. Let's see.
This is gonna be
Right?
right. Interpretive. What do you see? in
By the
this?
lungs.
Rorschach.
So see over here, where's the,
Is that right by the yellow? figures?
yeah, here it is. See how this looks like lungs?
Yeah.
So I think that that is the same as this. Does that look like lungs? Yeah, it kind of does.
Well,
If you go-
there is a treed medium
Yeah.
in between, so that makes
So
sense.
that little like blur on there is the parking
Is the
lot, so we
parking
can label that. Okay, that works. I can tell them that. That's easy
And is
enough.
it, can you go back to that, is it perennial north of that? I mean,
Yes.
so it's not on the screen, okay. Oh, yeah, I guess it was. That's too far.
This is the parking lot. Did I go too far?
Oh, it is, no, you
Yeah,
did.
and this is
Yeah, no,
the,
that's it, right.
Yep. And then our map goes basically like right up to here, I think, or up to here. Wherever the access stops, that it says like no one is allowed any further, that's where our map stops, our mapped area stops.
What is that?
It's like maintenance or something?
Yeah, it's like they have like a lot of like the county like maintenance and
Oh,
park
okay.
ranger equipment and stuff like that
Okay.
there. All right, so that's that. Now, I think that's all of the finished maps that he has. Now, I asked him to, oh wait, no, I'm sorry, JFK. JFK. So this one, oh, and name it is not really, that's kind of like raw data still, but he calls this raw data JFK that you did, Chris, but he said it's actually like very accurate, so it doesn't need much editing, which is
Yeah,
great.
yes.
There's no
Which is
other
excellent. So let me pass this way to Chris, I'm gonna put it up on the
Measure.
screen.
Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah, he
There you
was
go.
like, oh, I just looked at, the JFK, and he
It
was
is
like,
what
I
it
don't
is,
think it
right?
really requires
Yeah,
much
I mean,
work,
it's-
so.
Nothing else to,
And you have name
it
and,
was straight.
I mean,
It was the
So
next
it's up
day.
on the screen if you want to see it. So that's what Chris did. He did JFK Boulevard. And so you did the whole, you did everything basically.
he's got my
Yeah,
house on.
meant to end.
There you go, it's all good.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, when he does this and turns it into a regular map, we obviously want it to look like the other map does. And we also don't want the parcel lines on there. We don't want, we want to have just like the main streets. Like we don't need to have, like Franklin Boulevard can stay, but we don't need all these streets back here, all these street
Right.
names. Easton Ave, obviously like the ones that are good for like kind of helping people understand where they are, but the smaller streets, it kind of like bulks everything up. So this is just like, it's not a map yet, this is just the data as it's been done, but probably the map's gonna end up looking a lot like this.
Mhm.
Now, right there, what, did you see, was there any trail markers there when you were there, or no?
No.
No. So this doesn't have a color, so we just need to pick a color for this trail too, because there's no real color associated with it. So you can pick whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, you can pick blue, you can pick blue, white, red, yellow, brown, or purple.
go with blue.
Blue,
Do we have
okay.
any other blue road paths?
I
No,
don't think
right?
so, because
Okay.
Damont's yellow. It's gonna be yellow, it looks like. I think blue is good.
Sure.
Blue works.
Franklin Warrior colors, blue and
There you
gold.
go.
Blue and gold.
All right, so for JFK, now, one other thing we need to do, Chris, since you were there, let me just write this down, it's gonna be blue. Now, when we do our Pathways and Trails plan, one thing that we do for all of them is we have this, what you can basically do on there, right? And I've been converting them into like nicer tables, especially because they're outdated. Oh, you know what, I'm on the wrong one, hang on, let me go to this one, okay. All right, bear with me, okay. So for the JFK trail, we would want to fill in, now I'll get the distance, but we would probably want to put something like this in there. And so since you were there, and none of these might not apply, maybe all of them apply, maybe some. So in your, I guess we can answer like, is it handicapped accessible? What do you consider the difficulty to be? What kind of things can be done there?
One heck of a hill.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that Churchill.
yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you don't call that
Oh.
handicap
Use your brakes
accessible?
there.
I think the grade on the hill might exempt it from being.
Okay, so not ADA, you can obviously do walking and hiking
I mean,
there.
though the curb ramps at the intersections are ADA compliant. We did update those.
Okay,
But there's no parking, right? Aside from.
right, yeah.
Chris, you know what I'm thinking? You did that little blurb. Where's the
Marconi, right?
Marconi.
Yeah.
Should you add
So
that?
you're thinking Marconi? I'm thinking
Oh, as,
Marconi. Let's put in Marconi.
yeah,
Yeah, there is a little
Add
parking.
that on
lot.
there.
Add Marconi.
For
Marconi's
parking.
big.
there's parking and it's.
And there's
a
parking in there.
feature.
I saw a woman working out in there once.
And we want trail access across the street.
Parking.
No, there's not, never mind.
It was a dream.
Bicycling,
Yeah,
bicycling
right.
can be done there, right?
Yes.
Right.
Excuse
Paved
me.
all the way.
But we should put a tow path, we should put that the tow path is there though.
So-
It's totally paved.
Add towpath,
Oh, that it goes behind.
Yeah, there's no access,
and
it's
basically
there.
nothing else. Well, I guess leash dogs would be okay.
Oh, yeah.
Leash dogs, but probably.
But it is ADA compliant, isn't it?
The
Hey, you
intersections
can be on a
are?
wheelchair, I mean, you could do that. right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very,
I
yeah.
mean, there are many crossings, but there's no access to the towpath there. though.
No.
No.
But I just mean that it's for.
Or at least put it on the map that this is the towpath.
Yeah, but there's no access.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they were trying to put access, they might still do it, the canal authority might still put access. They were looking at doing something sort of behind the diner.
Yeah, we remember that.
yeah.
But I don't know where that went.
I don't think it went
That was
far.
done. No,
Yeah.
it didn't.
Flooding.
Yeah.
And somebody else owned it.
And it was gonna be like $1 million.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to look and see if it's actually considered to be ADA compliant. I think you're right, the surface material makes it ADA compliant, the crossings make it ADA compliant, but the grade does play into it, so I'm gonna have to look and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
That's a
By
whole
the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can check on that.
And Marconi Plaza.
And I added that, yep.
I ran 4 years of cross country. I made that hill, man, every time.
All right, so
Yeah, it
thank you,
takes a
Chris,
while.
good job on that.
Thank you.
We used to do hill workouts on it
The next one we have is Naaman Williams. So Vanessa did this, and this is a loop trail for the most part. I'm gonna pass it this way this time.
Yeah, I did like 2 versions of it. I did
Yeah.
it with like every connector to somewhere else, like every
Yeah.
path connecting, and then I did one which was more just the.
No, that's good, yeah. I think this one looks good and it won't change much either, and this is pretty straightforward for the most part, so I think this is good how you did it.
Now, I didn't like do a specific mileage though. I thought, I don't know if I was supposed to do that.
No, you're good. He
That's
takes
okay.
care of that.
Okay,
Yep,
I
yep.
was hoping.
After he
Somehow.
smooths out the lines and everything, and it becomes like what the actual
Yeah.
line is, then we get the final length from it. Because when it's like in this form, there's some add-ons. If it's like, if you took like a repeat step or whatever, he can
Yeah,
like get those
yeah,
out, so we
okay.
get closer to it. Because I do that all the time. I forget I have the thing on, I'll like stop and look at something, or I like go backwards or whatever, and then I'm like, oh no. So, but I think this looks good, and I think this is basically, you know, how it's probably gonna stay, right? So,
So you went out to the street, Vanessa, is that what those little little legs on it.
Parking lot. No, essentially, all the connectors to the trail itself.
The
are
access.
The
Right,
access.
From maybe a street or
Yes,
something
that long
like
one
that.
is to the park, the one closest to us is the parking lot. The one to the left of it is up a hill to another parking lot. And then the one going to Mark Street, that's also like just another path to get to the sidewalk there.
Right, that, the one in the bottom next to that big building, what building is that?
What big
The
building?
red roof?
Oh,
That's a
it's hard to
parking
see
lot.
from the red roof.
That's a parking lot.
Oh, parking lot. And the community garden is this?
It's
Yes.
over
To the right of it.
there, yeah.
Up in that brown space.
Yes.
All right. That was like crazy.
It's super overgrown.
Oh, my God.
Well, because this year they didn't do it, they didn't use it, but next year they said they are going to reinstate it, so.
Yeah, 'cause that was,
Yeah.
that's gonna be a lot of weeding.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I walked that. What's that
And
red
I'm
building?
curious, I know,
Private clubhouse.
and we can talk more
Over
about
in the
it.
Community.
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
We can talk more about it another time, but I'm also curious to know a little bit more about the history of the park. I didn't realize, I walked with my friend who grew up on Victor Street right there.
Okay.
And he was like telling me like, oh, there used to be a stage over here and Queen Anne's lace would grow over here. And
Oh.
I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, I didn't
You're
know
right.
that the park, and so like, you know, the swampy parts versus like, so it's interesting to kind of, I'd love to know a little bit about like, why did they put the playground equipment where they put it? Because
Yeah.
it's such a bad spot?
I know.
Was there a
Yeah.
reason that they did that?
I don't
They even
know.
moved the pool.
Yes.
I'm like, they moved the pool? I had
Yeah.
no
Where
idea.
was it originally?
I don't even
Closer
know.
to the woods?
I think somewhere in the middle, like oh no, not near the, no.
I'm just wondering, I'm just.
I got-
When we
Just
like
lack of
talk about
planning,
the
and no one
Nathan
thinks
Williams
about it.
project, and when we meet with recreation on site, I mean, Bo hasn't been here, you know, as
Yeah.
long as another person maybe, but he might have some information we can
And
get from him.
I'm friends with Sue Van Aiken, who used to be the superintendent of recreation.
Yeah.
So she's retired now, she has time, I'll ask her to fill me in on the history of it.
So do you know who Naaman Williams is?
I do.
I
Do
do
you?
too, yeah.
I don't.
And there's a big rock and a plaque.
That's what I
So I had to
know.
stop.
African American police officer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
all right, so that's that. Now, so he'll start working on those. Now, the other ones that are done, he only had the raw data that you guys put together, which is great, but it's very rough at this point, so just be aware.
Yeah.
So this is Graver, I'm just gonna put it on the screen. So this is Graver Woods.
Oh, wow.
Let me pass it this way this time. Graver Woods, we have two Graver Woods, so I think that's the one that Chuck did, or this is the one that Chuck did, and that's the one that Chris did.
So.
I'm not sure.
What'd you do, attach it to a deer or something?
I think our 6-year-old granddaughter.
Did you say we're wells, like we have?
No, not bubbles, but like just taking out all of those streets and
No, no, I
keeping
mean
the main.
like.
Oh, yes, they are,
Oh,
yeah,
that, okay.
yeah, yeah, I have that down on my notes. I hurt my ear,
brought some
my earring got
Um,
ripped out, so now I have to take them both
Well,
out.
And part of me is thinking, when we get further with this, to have the community garden in there, to have one, you know,
Oh, yeah, for
putting out the
sure.
community garden,
Yeah.
the park and all that.
So this is what, that's the
So
pool?
if you
That's the
see-
pool.
I walked it, I go, where's the pool? And I guess I just missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
kind of,
fiber optic?
right, there's a building here, it's kind of blocking.
Oh, okay, that's probably why. Like I said, I was walking here, yeah, this is all over.
So,
I go,
I
what the heck is
think-
that?
What I did was
Yeah, I
when I
don't
get
think it's
For
golf
these people.
No, you can't go
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And it's all
So-
plaques,
Yeah.
like,
I guess,
bands and stuff
yeah.
like that.
This is your memorial forest.
I went when it was very soppy.
Basically, there's this
Yeah,
main
better than I thought.
Yeah.
side loop.
So the last
And this area
few that he
around the
has,
building.
what they have, the Graver Woods that they're
And then,
working on,
you know,
and
what-
Anne Marie,
Yeah.
yeah, Anne Marie and Vanessa did,
Memorial?
Memorial, which I'll put up here for you to see. These are in really no shape to even be critiqued at this point. This is literally, he put what you walked on the aerial. So just so you can see what it looks
Okay.
like, and that's what he's gonna be working on
It's
next.
just a loop around stuff.
Hey, it looks
Yeah,
better than I
never
thought.
So the only
Oh, that's
things,
Memorial?
yeah.
Okay.
the only things left to
Wow.
map then are the trails at Van Wickle, which I'm gonna do when I'm there on Sunday. And the kids' little walking path at Middle Bush Park, which will take less than 5 minutes to do. And I think let's see, hold on, wrong
Can we
sheet.
talk about the Memorial Forest one real quick? Like, that was, like, we only did the trail itself, but not like the walk to get to the trail.
Okay,
So,
the
I don't-
driveway, right?
Right, so
Yeah.
what, like, we're sure, like, so we just did the trail itself, but the reality is like, you can't
Does this
just,
look familiar to you?
like, or you can't get to that trail
Without walking on that.
Walking on that?
But technically, it is a driveway, and it's
Yeah.
under the farmer that leases that has access to that. So I think we just put the trail on there, although I do agree with, there's really, you have to walk up there, but hopefully it's common sense that it's not part of the trail itself, although I don't know.
And we did buy the land eventually, so you can connect to Elizabeth Avenue.
Yes, we do have that land, yep, absolutely. And so this is a good example of that too. So in the open space committee, they really, really want to focus on doing a lot of improvements to Memorial Forest because the purpose of that property was to be for memorial tree plantings, and they really want to make it that. Now, we run into the same problem, which is when you're walking down that long driveway, if you keep going and you like kind of bear to your left at the end and you come to that open field, that is the area where we want to have the memorial tree plantings because it's a beautiful area. When the sun is out there, it looks beautiful. Plus, that's where that property goes, where you can connect to Elizabeth Ave. So ultimately, the idea is get the trail through there, and you can put a bench there, a kiosk. I had to draw up a whole like concept thing for open space. It's going to cost money, and it has to be done. But the main holdup is the farmer leases that field. The farmer leases the field right adjacent to the driveway, which is where they want to put another parking lot in, and one in the back by Elizabeth Ave. So there's really, we're kind of stuck until that lease is over for the most part. So it's got a few years left on it.
And someone has got to maintain whatever trees they put in there.
I agree.
They will
Yes.
die.
Well, the whole tree planting, memorial tree planting is it's gonna have to be like a whole program designed for it. So like who buys the tree, who maintains the tree, you know.
That's something we've been
And then the
discussing.
ultimate goal is to have that driveway completely be redone with a red crushed stone. Because that is an ADA compliant material, because obviously we want people, everyone to be able to visit it. So the whole driveway will have to be regraded and resurfaced.
So we're gonna stop farming that land at some point?
I don't know if we're gonna stop farming it, but we'll have to modify the lease to at least take out that back field, so we can use it for the memorial tree area. The field that you see when you drive along the road, that field can still be farmed, the field directly behind it, but that very back field, we
Okay.
would like basically remove that from the lease.
Okay.
So we talked to the guy whose family leases.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
we've talked to him too, and.
Anne Marie.
Yeah, yes. So we are under lease with him. We could technically consider, I guess, if we wanted to move forward with that quickly, like seeing if we can renegotiate our lease midway through. But it's honestly just a lot cleaner and easier to wait the few years that's left on the lease, so.
Uh-huh.
Any change
You know,
in terms of the township leases, so you're only leasing tillable acreage and
Yeah.
access?
Yeah,
It just,
Yeah,
it
that was.
doesn't make sense otherwise.
Mhm.
It just,
So maybe go with the state guidelines.
yeah, go to
The town can go with the state guidelines.
Is that something you think they would consider, Tara, like shifting to a leasing
I don't,
tillable
yeah, I mean,
acreage?
I don't see, I know they only pay on tillable acreage, I know that. I mean, the why the lease format was used, I'm not sure, but yeah, moving forward, all of our leases are still active, so moving forward, we can definitely pick a better format of lease, or if, different terms of leases are to be considered, we can do that, so, yeah.
And there's a lot of deer there, I mean, they have
Yeah.
active hunting there. So,
Yes.
I mean, you have to think about, if we have to fence in the trees or do something, so just get eaten.
Yeah. It's a big
It's a big
project.
project.
It's a big project, and we want to get it done, but it's not going to be done in time for the Pathways and Trails plan, but maybe the
Oh.
next iteration of it.
Yeah.
So I'm just letting you know,
Next
we will put
iteration
the
of it.
map in there as is. We'll put the
Yeah.
map in that exists as is, but yeah.
So I'd love to see, if you could show the plans,
Yeah.
you sketched out some things,
Yeah.
that'd be cool for us to see too, to kind of get a sense of, because I'm also curious, you're saying if we can have a trail, do we need that piece of land of the farm acreage, you said that they want to get in the back for parking, or is that for the trees?
For the trees. That would be for the
Oh,
tree
okay.
area. Let me see.
Oh, when could we consider putting a trail from Elizabeth Avenue to Memorial Forest?
As soon, so basically we need that back property to be not under lease because the trail would basically go right through there. We
Okay.
own the property on Elizabeth Ave, that's ours, and we're not leasing it to anyone, so that just involves basically cutting some trees down and making it so you can get through.
Okay,
And it's wet.
It's the Memorial Forest area, that is that back field.
okay. So you're saying the property on Elizabeth Avenue is wet, is that what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Chuck was gonna
Yeah,
it's
do it,
just-
and I'm like, no.
It's a bit wet.
It is, for sure,
I mean,
it
you
needs
got-
work, it
you
needs
got-
work,
You're
it
gonna have
definitely
to
needs
raise
work, yeah.
the road.
Yes,
The
yeah, it
entrance
needs,
road
I was
to
gonna
go
say,
in
it
there.
needs grading,
Uh,
it needs a lot.
That's not what we walked on, is it?
No,
Okay, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
but all that would need a
Can
lot
you
of
put that
red
on the
stone
map,
to bring
or
that
on
up.
the screen,
So
the
that
map?
way you can drive in.
Yes, so,
Where you would connect it from
yes,
the forest to
hang on one
Elizabeth
second,
Ave.
okay.
Just try to
Now,
get
this mapping, I just wanna let you know, this is not like what it is. I'm gonna put it up here and I need to brace myself because I was asked by the Open Space Committee to put like a concept together of like maybe what could be some ideas or whatever, just to kind of get them going.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right now, nothing has been finalized, and again, the lease, as long as that lease is in effect, we can't do anything right now, so just keep that in mind.
Now you've raised our curiosity.
I know,
That's
right?
all
Because
right.
I'm like, I just want to make sure everyone's aware of what it is. Because sometimes I'll put up like a concept and it's like, oh my gosh, how can that be? It's like, okay, all right. So this is.
We're brainstorming.
Yes, I'm like, I'm trying to think out loud. Okay, so this is Memorial Forest, the aerial, as you can see. This shows where the preserved land is.
Can you slow down for a second?
Yeah.
So, can you go back one? Sorry, you said that. Where's Memorial Forest?
The outline of the blue, I don't know if you can see where the blue outline is.
I didn't notice that. I thought it was white. Okay. I see it now.
Okay. This shows the preserved land layer. This shows where the wetlands are. This symbol, where you see the green with the little hat, that is wetlands that require a 50-foot buffer. So the wetlands are in there as well as the 50-foot buffer. So
Okay.
that basically really shows you kind of what you can do and what you can't do.
And where's Demont Lane?
DeMont Lane is, hold on.
Because I saw Elizabeth, it's like,
Yes,
it's too
let me
long.
back it up.
It's Cedar Grove Lane.
Cedar Grove.
Okay, here's Elizabeth Ave.
No, it's Cedar Grove on the right.
This is Amwell, just so you know, and this is Amwell, Cedar Grove. Yeah, oh no, DeMont, you won't see DeMont, this is too far
Yeah.
in. DeMont's this way.
So where is
There's
it
a Shell
attached to?
station
You
on the
said,
corner.
So Elizabeth Ave?
oh, you want, it's gonna hit Elizabeth Ave, I'm
Yes, so
sorry.
we own this property right here. This
Right.
5201 is the one that we own. So you can see it goes
Oh,
Elizabeth
okay.
Ave, and it
Okay.
connects to here, right? Now,
Okay.
That's pretty recent.
Got
Yes,
it.
yes, in the last
It's
few years.
wider
This
than
field
I
here is the
thought,
field I'm talking
I think it's
about.
50 feet.
Okay, okay. And where Anne Marie and I walked is that tree, the tree's right in the middle.
Yes, yep.
No, but what about the trees in the upper left part? What is
This up
that?
here?
Yeah.
This is just, basically just like part of the farmer's lease, but nothing's really going on over there.
That's that white house that we saw?
Yes,
That backyard abuts into those woods.
it does,
We didn't walk down there?
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's not a structure on the property, someone else's property, the White House you mentioned?
Yeah, he has a house,
Okay.
and his backyard abuts. See a
Right.
nice beautiful lawn here? This beautiful lawn?
Okay, I see.
And it's wet back here, right, Chuck?
Yes it is.
And the wooded area is township property,
Yeah,
but it's leased?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So all that blue markers that you said, that's that.
That's the
town
outline of the property, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Plus that one strip
Oh, okay,
that
so
has
that-
that little panhandle
Yeah.
Yeah.
connecting with Elizabeth Ave.
Yeah, so this one is not part of Memorial Forest, this was a separate open space property, but I mean, we probably will just include it as part of Memorial Forest once it's developed into something. Right now, it's just a completely wooded lot that we own.
So the potential here is for keeping what Vanessa and I did, and then also utilizing all those wooded areas once that Because it is,
Yeah, I'll show you there's the wetlands,
right
okay,
now
here's
it's
some
not, you
info.
can't walk through
Yeah, I'm just gonna scoot forward. This is the leased, this is the farmer's lease, so this shows you what's leased and what's not. So, the fields, I should say this, he leases everything, because you can see with the outline, but where he's actually farming, like what he pays on is the highlighted area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about
I-
half of it says 47 acres
Yeah.
tillable, 70 acres total.
Mhm.
All right,
Wow.
So his lease goes through February 2025. He already used one of his 2 5-year extensions. So if he was to use the extension, it would go till 2031. However, at the period of extension, we can negotiate with him. So that's hopefully the idea.
I love the fact that it's still being farmed. You know what I mean? I love,
I don't think it would
keep
be,
the
yeah, I don't think
farming
it
in
would be
town.
take it away from farming, but there's the portion of the field we would need if we choose to do this here at
Yeah.
this site. And we definitely need to fix that driveway. We absolutely have to
Oh,
fix
yeah.
that. That is a disaster to begin
is.
with, you know?
Anne Marie wouldn't even consider driving.
Right.
She's like, we are not doing that.
I'm consistent. yeah.
So this is the area where we're thinking of having the tree plantings if we move forward. So that's that field back in the back, that's leased by the farmer. This is our Elizabeth Ave property that we were telling you about,
Yeah.
right? So you can see where the connection is.
Well, I have a question.
Yep.
Go back.
Please.
All right, so that outlined red Memorial Forest, fine. The one below that is where he was growing that one year, remember, the deer enticement?
Yes.
He was growing pumpkins and squash in there for the deer, as a
And-
lure for the deer.
Then in those trees they were hunting from, but in that property line down there, there's this interesting trench, remember the trench?
Well, that's the old railroad.
The old railroad, see,
Right.
it is an old railroad.
Yeah.
But it was so low, that doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know, that was an area of great contention apparently some time ago. Mark Fortin knows about that, and apparently, because originally they wanted to put a trail through that
Like a
street.
rails trail.
Yes.
A rail
Yeah.
trail
Right.
system through
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And it just got NIMBY'd by only a couple of the landowners that were
Yes,
adjacent to it,
yeah.
but they
So it was railroad.
just.
It was a railroad, so that happened when
I
I was
thought that
in
was
the
like
county.
Smith Road. I thought that the rails to trails thing was like along.
Rails to Trails goes behind Smith Road, actually, because
Yeah,
we had friends with a house on Smith Road, they went behind their house.
yeah.
But
It all connected-
the
it
same
connected
rail,
here as
same
well?
rail line.
All the way out to Clyde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I knew from Smith going towards Clyde, but I didn't
Yeah.
know from Smith going this
Yeah.
way.
That
Oh,
is an old
that was a
railroad.
That was a
Oh,
railroad from
right.
East
Yeah, that
Millstone
is
to
definitely-
get canal traffic,
Yeah,
Okay.
coal from the canal
yeah.
into New Brunswick.
And I think that was one of the projects in the old, or the current trails plan.
Yes.
Was to
It
make
was.
that trail or light trail.
That's a
or something
lost
like that.
opportunity.
That's a- yeah.
I wish that had happened.
I'm gonna skip forward just to the
Sorry,
final,
just so
no,
many
just so you
issues.
know, just so you can, because this is basically a PowerPoint of like my brain on paper, so I'm just gonna go to where I think makes sense.
Hey, your brain on paper is too.
It's like, so this was the idea. Now, again, this is me drawing little points out based on like me being out there. I didn't use a GPS tool for this. So this is our Elizabeth Ave property, so you can kind of see the idea, which is like, this is the existing trail, it goes through here, and then we're gonna, it follows, and it follows right to here. So the idea is that you would potentially walk this trail, which would be nice, and, you know, able to be walked on regularly without like breaking anything. And then if you were interested in planting a tree or visiting a memorial tree, the area would be here. I'll show you where we're thinking about putting some benches in there, a kiosk, a bike rack, because the idea is that the trail would end up going right back through here. So you could come on your bike or walking through here, or you could come in through Amwell Road.
So it's not for cars? It's
No.
never gonna be
No,
for
no,
cars?
no, never for cars.
Yeah.
Never for cars.
Okay.
Warlocker really was very adamant that there should not be any through traffic by cars through
No,
there.
yes, there should, and there should
That's
be.
right. Remember that.
That would happen.
Yeah.
So one thing we were thinking about, or I was thinking, I should say when I was out there, is if we were thinking about doing memorial trees, which this would also involve some type of partnership with the Shade Tree Commission, because they have funding for trees and things like that. this is where that trail comes in from Amwell Road over here, right? So the idea is maybe you put a kiosk and a bike rack over here. This pull-off area would be a very small area where if someone had a mobility issue and maybe has like ride a scooter or something like that there, that they could ride it up to this point and park it there, because we're trying to make it as accessible as possible without letting cars in. That's like the key. Then we want to roughly around here put some benches so people can sit and enjoy their time at the memorial tree. You know, you can put a plaque there if you'd like. And then if you want, you just continue straight on out to Elizabeth Ave, or you go back to Amwell Road. So that's kind of like the very basic idea. And then obviously trail markers and signage and things like that. So this trail length altogether, if it was to be this, it would be 3,661 feet approximately. So from Amwell Road to Elizabeth Ave would be about 0.7 miles. So that's the idea. Now, the idea is also parking, adding a little parking spot closer up, because there's no parking there whatsoever. So there was two options. One was there's a big stand of dead trees over here, and the thought was maybe you put in like the diagonal parking spaces, a few over here, so that anyone who wanted to get to this area, if you are, you know, have some mobility issues, or you're elderly, or you have little kids that like you are a little closer to that spot. The other option was over here. There's just some brush and things in here that are not being used, and the farmer apparently says he can't really use that area too much, so putting a few spots in there. And we were talking about maybe 5 or 6 spots, not like, you know, giant parking lot or anything like that.
But it's a parking lot that we can't access with a car.
Right, so there's gonna have to be a pull off from the driveway, right, at some point to actually like make this happen. But all of that's gonna have to be determined when we do, it has to be regraded and resurfaced. So it would be like, okay, are we gonna let cars drive into this area? And if so, are we gonna like split the driveway? Are we not gonna let cars at all? We're not gonna have any parking areas, and it's basically like park over there. Are we gonna try and put a parking lot on the Elizabeth Ave property? Maybe instead would be a better option, although I've been told it's very wet in that back corner. So a lot of different things to think about in terms of parking. And right now there's parking on the front lawn right there, basically.
So when you were saying there was no driving on it, you meant just in that Memorial Forest section, not in the driveway between the farms?
We don't want driving on that driveway at all. We don't want
No,
that.
but you're just saying we have to, right? You're saying we have to.
I'm saying if we put a parking lot in there, if we put a parking lot so that people don't have to walk as far to that back area, then yes, we're gonna need to either split that driveway off or allow driving on there, or put a driveway on the Elizabeth Ave.
There's an option where there would not, so you have, I only see option 1 and 2 for parking?
Right. That's the only thought right now. Now the idea of
But that
Elizabeth Ave,
requires we have to go on the driveway.
it does, unless we put a split off driveway versus like an actual walking trail, or like you make the trail like next to the driveway. I don't know any of that. That I'm not sure of, because we really got to think about this parking idea, because the parking might not work out. However, without parking, to go water your memorial tree is going to be very difficult. It's going to be like almost impossible, you know. So, or go like, say you want to carry like a big thing of flowers there, or you want to bring like a picnic lunch there. I mean, walking from Amwell Road to this area is going to it's going to make it difficult for a lot of people, which is not what we want to do. So maybe the Elizabeth Ave area is better. However, the minute I even brought up Elizabeth Ave, which is why you only see option 1 and 2, it was like, oh my gosh, it is so wet back there, and it's going to involve so much work to cut down all the trees, and there's so many good. So Vanessa's now on open space. She just got appointed to the open space committee, which is great. You're going to see on Tuesday. Yes, and you're going to see on Tuesday that when we talk about taking down trees to put a parking lot, Trails really likes it, say for example, because it's like, great, now we can access the trail better. Open space is like, I like it because we can put the memorial trees there. Shade Tree Commission will say, I hate that, absolutely not, I don't want you taking any trees down. And then Recreation will say, well, what about the seniors and what about the kids? So it's a bunch of different, like trying to find the right balance is difficult, you know? So.
I don't think there's any trees there that were really remarkable in character off
Well,
Elizabeth Avenue, do you?
I did walk in that back area, the panhandle area there, and as I recall, it was pretty much wetland hardwoods.
Yes.
And and the trees weren't that old.
Right.
There, on option 2 there, that darker green section of it, I measured some of those trees in there. There are scarlet oaks in there, which is a New Jersey state tree, by the way, which are probably 150, 200 years old.
Yeah, so that area is, not gonna
so-
work.
Yeah, there's a lot
So,
of.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't recall the dead trees that.
So one person from Shade Tree Commission was there with me at the time we were trying to cite this memorial tree that Shade Tree Commission was paying for. And he said that those trees were dead. Now, again, I don't know. I mean, I'm not so again, it really depends on.
Well, some of them could be diseased and all.
Yeah, but the main thing to focus on is the trail extension. So this,
Yeah.
we could put this in the trails plan as one of our future recommendations, at least the trail, maybe not go into the whole. But the extension is gonna be the extension, you know what I mean? So we could add that to the Pathways and Trails plan as like a future project, if we wanted.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I feel like, I know you were trying to put this thing to bed. So I think it's also fine to leave it the way it is.
Right,
And then
yeah.
just save it and add it
Yeah.
next time. It doesn't have to be in the plan for us to do it.
Right.
No,
Like, I don't want us to
exactly.
keep reopening
I
the
agree.
plan. I know
Yep.
that's something you've been
But
struggling.
could we put it, we might not do the plan for 10 years. Could we put like a paragraph?
We're gonna start now
Yeah.
for that next
Yeah.
plan, Emery, because
Well, we
none of you know how long it takes.
I know. We have,
But can we put a paragraph in?
yeah,
about
we
the
have this
development of the
map
trail?
right here that we could literally just insert in and say, because they're all concepts.
Because if we
They're
don't add that
recommendations.
to our concept, I'm
Yeah.
afraid it'll just, like the
Why
railroad.
isn't there already, I guess, we've never talked about this before, really.
No.
So why, to me, this is bizarre. Like,
Right.
how is it that, I don't know, I just
So
feel
the
like.
reason that I was there on site was because the first memorial tree ever got planted at Memorial Forest. It's right in the front of Memorial Forest. It was just recently planted. The reason I was there was because Shade Tree Commission and Open Space, we're gonna have a ceremony for the planting of this tree, and it needs to be cited, and I need to have DPW out there. So while we were there, I walked the trail, and then Shade Tree Commissioner and our chairman, Bob Huskis from Open Space, stayed with me and was like, this would be great back here, do this, and can you put something together, and whatever. So that's kind of how it came to be. But why I was there was for really to help out the Shade Tree Commission.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of how it began. So if you drive by the Memorial Forest, right in front of the fence, you'll see there's a new tree that was planted there in, I want to say August,
We were
July
just
or
there.
August.
We were just there.
When you walk, like, did you park at the front gate?
No, we
No.
walked the whole driveway.
We walked in from the front.
You walked in, so you walked right past it probably. It's right next to the brown sign that says Memorial. It's a morning red glory, red October glory.
So it's right near the road?
Yes, it's right near
the
the
road.
Road.
Yep, it's right near the road.
And what is it memorializing?
It's the mayor actually, it's his mother's tree, he put it there, so,
Oh, okay.
yes, so, and it was the first tree planted there, so it was,
And so how was it decided to make Memorial Forest? Like,
that's been the purpose, the reason it was named Memorial Forest apparently, back when it was made, was because it was always thought that it was gonna be a site for memorial tree plantings, or some type of memorialization. So that goes back to when it was first, no one ever used it as such, for whatever
I can't
reason.
tell you
But
what
it's always,
that tree
it's been
was.
farming the whole time.
It's been leased to a farm, yeah, so our open spaces that we don't, I guess, have plans for right away, that started being leased to farmers, so it's still been in the lease, but I think the original concept when it was bought was this.
Okay. Do you know any idea when that was?
I wanna say like the early 90s maybe, late
Oh.
80s, yeah. That's what I've been told, is that the purpose was always gonna be this, it's
Yeah.
just that it hasn't come to
So that was actually
fruition.
So I,
before the open
the
space
sign was
program.
really old.
It's getting replaced, it's getting replaced,
Really
yeah, the
old.
sign's getting
So-
replaced.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Memorial.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense, right?
I have no
Yeah.
idea what tree she's talking about.
Yeah, we'll have to go back.
Let me see, let me see there.
This is just the sign.
Oh, did you take like a zoom out from there by any chance, or no?
No.
Okay.
I was just trying to get.
Let me see if I can-
Prep the
So,
sign.
I guess, so Tara, I think, like whenever, I feel like, we've been, you know, thirsty for opportunities to look at land to put trails on.
Yes.
You know, and we've had like none, right? And so I know we're talking about the new property near 518, even like with this, it would be great to
Yes.
be able to talk about it and think about it, and I also feel like thinking about, okay, what makes the most sense, like, are there other places, and I mean, and now, I understand now that this was always gonna be Memorial Forest, there's already a tree there, but that would've been interesting to kind of think about other spaces and,
Yeah.
and considering,
Yeah.
other spaces that might have been even, you know, might be a good fit for that, or something else too.
My charge was that this is the place because this has been the concept behind it.
Yeah.
So that was my,
We can add that other
Yeah.
trail. I think we just need to put a little space, a little something in the plan. that
we
we're taking
I
a
can
look
take
at.
a picture of that map and add it in pretty quickly. I think I can do
All
that.
right. You're our timekeeper this evening, by the way.
Oh, am I?
Oh, it's been more than 45 minutes.
It's been like-
Sorry, I fell down.
okay.
Close to 90 minutes, but that's okay.
Okay. Is that it for the,
I think that's it.
Pathways
So
and Trails
again,
plan?
once the maps are done, I can, it encompasses a lot, so we did cover a lot.
We did cover
But
a
once
lot.
I have these final maps,
Yeah.
the plan has been ready for quite some time. I can't finish it though without the maps or the trail length, so I'm kind of like stuck right
Yeah.
now. But I think we're making progress, so.
And I think that like we should like really treat this like a strategic plan and revisit it and come back to it annually and like look at it and let it guide the work that we're doing. And so,
Yeah, we can add it.
yeah,
Okay.
No, so we can do our goals and accomplishments to the
Yeah.
council.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then also we
Nice
can
one,
take
Jen.
keep notes, you know, for the next iteration of it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the site plan review.
No site plan review, bless you. We actually had no site plans to review at the last EC meeting, which was so nice for a change.
Okay.
Okay.
I did mention, I know we're not there yet, but as far as like the land near 518, you know, that we've already acquired, you know, Chris Kelly, former member of this committee, is now the chair of Somerset County Open Space, and they have an adjoining property to that. So I just like, you know, planting that seed, hey, just, you know, in the future, this is something that we want to
Yeah,
talk about. I know
absolutely.
they have a meeting tonight, so he was gonna pepper that in on his side as well.
Yeah.
To, you know, hopefully when we're ready, that would be great to partner with them on that. The next item on the agenda is new business, the grant for green infrastructure and trail development at Neiman Williams Park.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of try and run through this like kind of quickly if I can. So basically, this is again, we don't have to go through this whole thing, but just to give you, okay, let me just like speak from my brain at this point. So Vanessa had gone to do, everyone knows all about the Neiman Williams project, right? So I don't have to go back into that. Okay. So Vanessa had gone and walked it at one point, probably like over a month ago. She sent me pictures of that, which was great. I have a baseline from that, also have the baseline from our crime prevention through environmental design study. I then went out there on September 19th and did a walkthrough of it and took photos and tried to start brainstorming where good spots for green infrastructure would be. And this is basically just, I kind of like used my planner and my green infrastructure, you know, experience to kind of like just, again, think up some ideas of what would work and what wouldn't. I then put together this like PowerPoint report and I sent it out to everyone to look at, and then we met again on site on September 27th, right? And we went through it, you know, piece by piece. And so now we've kind of honed in on some priority areas that would be good for green infrastructure. And so I wanted to show them to you and kind of let you see.
Yes, I see.
So this was from my visit on the 19th. This is kind of just like an aerial of the Neiman Williams Park, and I just kind of tell you, you know, what the weather was and what the adjacent land uses and things like that. So area A, now these are all, you know, I'm going to skip past my visit, only because, you know what, no I'm not, because the pictures are here. So on my visit, this is just me here now, and I'm like basically like gathering data at this point. So area A, this is the first area which is adjacent to the woodlands by, in Neiman Williams Park. And just for reference, you can see here's the pool over here, okay, here's the woodlands, and then this is the streets that back up to it back here, this little gazebo, okay? This segment had a lot of puddles, a lot of standing water and thick mud. There was fitness equipment that was completely submerged, making it unusable. There was a bench that was completely submerged. There was a few points that I actually couldn't pass, and I had to let someone else go because the water was there, so 2 of us couldn't get by. It's very highly used, which is great. So these are some photos so you can kind of see what I was talking about. Now again, this is on September 19th. The day before was that really heavy rain, right? So this is a little path leading into the woods, and it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see that that is mud. That is all mud there. So it's thick mud, so there's a lot of water in there. This over here is a fitness station, which has been, it was like that on the 19th, and it was like that on the 27th. If you took a picture on both days, there's literally no change.
I did the same thing.
Right? It never changed. That area is consistently full of water. Then we have the path. You can see that there's puddles here, a lot of puddles of various sizes, and the path itself is wet. Looking down towards the gazebo, you can really see where the puddles are accumulating. And then this is standing water here in the wood line. So if you look in the wood line, there's a lot of actual standing water in there. The next area is Area B, which is the curved trail segment around the playground and parking lot. So this is the playground and parking lot that is to the back of the park, not the one that's toward Matilda Ave. This area, again, lots of puddles. Even the surface material on the playground was saturated. So I like put my hand on it and it was wet, and it's like rubber basically. So, and it was still wet for a while. The area that is leading into the wetlands, and the tree line itself had a lot of standing water and thick mud. This section is directly adjacent to, I'm sorry, I have this backwards. This is the playground by Matilda Ave. Yes.
Right. I was like confused.
Yes, this is the one by Matilda, as I was right, yes.
Okay.
This is the one that is adjacent to a neighboring residence. So you can see they have a white vinyl fence there. You can see how high the mud goes. You can see mud marks on the fence. The corner of their fence is actually starting to lean because it's basically rooted in just mud and standing water that's adjacent to our woodlands. So here you can see on the garbage can, you can kind of see where you see like some mud marks there.
Yeah.
This is the neighbor's fence. There's a giant puddle right here, a big puddle back here. All of this is completely wet. And there was a trail marker, something here that just like fell over because it just couldn't do it anymore, basically. This here is the path leading up to the parking lot on Matilda Ave. So you can see there is some mud here. You can see along the grass line where it's wet still. Again, neighbor's fence line. This is the grass in between the two areas. If you were to walk in between there, like it's wet there, really, really wet. And then Area C, this is by the baseball field. So it's really the bleachers and the dugout right by the baseball field is where the wet area is. This isn't as high as a priority, but it is, the thing that makes it good is that there's a downward slope there, and it's close to existing housing. So here you can see that the fitness area, it's not submerged, but the bottom is very wet. There's still some puddling here down by the bleachers, lots of mud here by the dugout. And this is the area that slopes downward. So behind me, if you can picture behind me is, I think that's Mark Street, right? Is that Mark Street?
Yeah.
And there's houses all facing this, right? Now this is a downward slope that goes right down to the baseball field. So this is like a great area to have a rain garden or something like that. That would kind of help soak up some of that water. And then the last main area that I noticed when I was there that was really wet is the other playground, the one that is not by Matilda Ave, but is by the pool and the other, the community garden. So again, same thing. There is lots of water there, wet. There are 2 manholes there though that lead to a storm drain, which we found out lead actually into the wooded area, into the culvert there. So treating there, even though it's not a priority spot, treating that area is important because it actually will help reduce some of the water that's causing the big problem, right? So this gives you an idea. See, there's a manhole, there's a few drains already over there that we can kind of work around.
Some of them are not positioned very well.
Right, they're not. Some of it just requires some grading and just like moving the water correctly. So then when we met with the committee, or the members of the committee, we basically said, okay, let's talk about these recommendations and kind of like fine tune them. And so we came up with the priorities, which areas A and B are priority number 1, area D is priority 2, and area C is priority 3, and I'll show you them as we move forward. Some of the green infrastructure strategies we're thinking of is the grading and rerouting of water to storm drains, wetlands, or other green infrastructure treatments. This is actually going to be like a big part of the project, because a lot of it, if we can reroute the water to the correct spot, is going to really be helpful. Rain gardens, some small, some big, planting of trees, the trenches along the path with stone, and maybe a rain barrel, but I don't think it's going to go my way, so we'll have to see how that goes. I leave it on there out of protest. So priority 1 is this is the proposed green infrastructure strategies for priority 1. And priority 1 is that first area I showed you by the neighboring properties, by the woodlands, which is really bad. So basically we're thinking is a trench along the path with some stone in it to kind of slow down and capture some of the runoff. Planting more trees to really like kind of firm up the wood line there. And then also putting in just some grading and rerouting to make sure we're getting the water into those areas. The other thing is this here is that fitness area that is always submerged. So the recommendation there is remove that fitness area and turn that either into a rain garden or do something that nothing should be there. But maybe it can be a rain garden because it's continually wet anyway. Also the idea over here for a rain garden, which is where that standing water was, kind of close to the neighbor's property. That is just full of water. We can put more trees in there, but at this point it's almost like maybe thinking about a rain garden would be better. And again, some grading to get that in there. And when I say grading, I mean like simple grading. We're not like, we're talking about like digging and filling to make it go the correct way. Maybe putting something in there, stone or whatever, but not like an engineering project. It's just so you know.
Similar to you know, right?
Yes. Yep. The only other thing I would like to do, but I don't think it's gonna go, is so this building, this gazebo, it has so much water coming off of it during rain, and it leads right to the problem area. The water runs off so fast. So I asked Ted Chase, do I think that they would be willing to put like a gutter on there? Because if we had a gutter and a downspout, we could put a rain barrel, right? But they said that putting a gutter on there, they don't think they're gonna want to do. But I mean, the way that gazebo is positioned, it's like someone said, where is the worst possible place that I can get more water here? How can I get more water? And then they said here. And so, because if there's the water is just shooting off of that. So I don't know if that's an option, but maybe.
Maybe a grass roof.
Right, something, right?
Willing to absorb it.
Priority 2 is this area here, which is right by the playground, not by Matilda Ave, the one by the
apartments.
Yes. So the idea is basically putting some more trees around the back end of it. Not only will that help with some of the water problems there, because the slope, that playground must get hot in the summer, I'm thinking. It's got to, because there's no vegetation there whatsoever. The big thing here, so the grading, so this is the area Vanessa was talking about. When we went out there on site, we basically found there is a way to lead that water to the drain, but it's just not graded properly. So if we can fix the grading there, rather than go and put a rain garden there, which was my original thought, it is better to just reroute it to the correct place. So that's that. And then maybe some small rain gardens over here. It'll add just like a little pizzazz there, but also it'll take care of some of the water areas. And these are both right beneath existing, right above existing drains. So before the water gets to the drain, it can at least capture some of it and filter it or capture it. So that's the hope. And then over here again, some regrading. And this is all going to filter into the bad area down there. So hopefully it works out. Then priority number 3 is the area by the baseball field and the dugout. Jignasha, actually, so I had a rain garden, and I originally had it placed more over here in between the dugout and the bleachers. And Jignasha brought up that it probably would be better behind the bleachers because people actually might use that area in between the bleachers and the dugout, which makes sense. Plus that really would solve the water problem there. Again, the rerouting, this area here, which is, these are the fitness stations, I have add wood chips, but it's really more than wood chips. It's add something to, because those are, again, they're not submerged, but they are wet there. And
But they
unusable.
are submerged, you know, right after the rain, during the
Right.
rain, like it's definitely, it
Absolutely.
takes them much longer
Yeah.
for those to dry out.
For sure. So that's like kind of like the concept ideas. We're also saying that when the equipment is replaced, which is coming up soon, really think about where to put them and not put them in the places that they can't be used. You know, so again, we already talked about the one just south of the playground at Matilda Ave just being completely removed, not to put anything there. They are going to need some grading and a thicker layer of wood chips, curbing or something so they're not continually wet or submerged. And that when and if the path is ever repaved, it really needs to be graded properly. And I mean, we can't take that project on as part of this grant, but when that path is redone, which it will have to be, we really need to make sure that we are involved so that we know it's, because proper grading would really solve a lot of these problems
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah.
So the next steps, just so you know, so this concept plan, that's good. So we have something, if we wanted to go out right now and talk to the public and say, this is what we're thinking, what do you think? We have something they can see and react to. It's very hard to have a public session and people don't understand exactly what you're talking about, where you are, whatever. So we have something we can do. I emailed this report to Dr. Abrupta. He runs the Water Resources Program at Rutgers. And he was my teacher when I took green infrastructure, so I have like a relationship with him. And he reviewed it and he said, I'd be happy to meet you out there and help you. So he's gonna send me some dates. The next step, I think, is meet with him on site at Naaman Williams, show him our ideas. If he says they're sound, we wanna make sure they're sound and feasible, then we're like, great, okay, we know we're in the right direction. Then we need one more on-site meeting, and that is gonna be with DPW and with Recreation. And the reason why is because before we get like all down the road and start, you know, making everything seem awesome, I wanna make sure that Bo doesn't say, oh my gosh, no, you can't put a rain garden here because we're planning on ripping that up and putting whatever. And I also want to loop DPW in so they understand exactly what we're talking about, and they can also tell me if like, they're not gonna, you know, they don't have time to do it, or they don't think they can do it, or whatever.
Yeah,
So,
keep is key.
yeah, so I wanna meet with them on site. After we have all that buy-in, or maybe even during the same time, we can start holding our public information sessions to kind of show these concepts to people. I think really once Dr. Abrupta says like, yes, this makes scientific, it's reasonable, it makes sense, then I think we can start doing that, and we can try and meet with people at Naaman Williams, we can have something here, we can go to somewhere if it's easier for us to go there, so we can start setting that up soon. And then it's just a matter of basically like getting the green infrastructure, kind of like making sure we know what we're doing and ordering supplies for it and things like that. So I think we're like on a good path of getting it done, it just needs to be, we just need like the final, like, I don't want to say approvals, but it kind of is like approvals, so. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, and there's a lot of great things that we can do. I'm sure there's a different budget with each one of them, and getting the community buy-in. I did go to Naaman Williams on a Sunday after all the rain, and there was an informal group of dads there with young kids, which was
Oh,
very interesting. And I know the town did buy the new equipment, so they don't know where they're gonna put that equipment yet.
That I'm not 100% sure of, but when we meet with Bo on site, he'll be able to
They'll be
kind
able
of
to
let us
answer that
know.
question, because I would hate them to go ahead and do something without us all working together.
Yeah, I don't know if their thought is just replace exactly where they are, which it might be, or they might have a whole new plan, but I don't know about that, so. So that's the
This gives us a lot
idea.
of nice options, and I agree,
Yeah.
priority A is definitely priority, and
Mhm.
there's different ideas
Yeah.
on how to remediate that.
And our grant funding is not gonna be able to pay for all of these,
No.
obviously, but we'll start off on what we can do, and then if things are left, we can request money from the open space budget, we can request,
maybe Parks and Rec to help us out with some of it if it makes sense. So, we will not get all these things done for the grant, but we can at least get something started, so.
If we can start with priority 1, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Because that's a mess.
Yeah.
And Tara, you mentioned having this prepared for public sessions. Would those would happen after the meetings with Dr. Abrupta and DPW, right?
Yeah, so I'm hoping Dr. Abrupta can meet with me by the end of October. So Dr. Abrupta said he can meet with me by the end of October, so I'm hoping I can get him out there soon. And then Bo and Carl from DPW, I think we can get out there pretty quickly. So it's really his schedule that I have to work around, but I think it'll be good.
And there was a Councilman Ray
Yes,
also?
he called while we were there on
Wow.
site. He couldn't make it, but he called. And I sent him a report ahead of time, and he's very supportive of it, so.
And that'd be great to get some local people interested.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Yep.
Because I was surprised to see those dads, that was great.
Yeah.
And my friend who walks there almost every day, I've been asking him to put his feelers out and ask people like on the
Oh,
trail.
good.
And so, yeah, he's been saying that
good.
people are definitely interested in getting these fitness stations like out of the water, but just like everything we're talking about, those priorities with the parts of the trail that are wet.
Yes.
That's been something, and the playground, the kids' playground, is everything being soaking wet, that's an issue. And something else that came up was like a request, that the path be plowed in the winter,
Oh,
because they're like,
okay.
we keep walking here if they plowed it when it snowed.
Oh, they don't plow it.
So-
Okay, all right.
That's an easy.
Well, that's what one person said, I don't know more than that.
But that might be something that comes out of our public information sessions that we can put forward,
Yeah.
Well, also too, I mean, in the winter, that water you see turns into ice, obviously,
Yeah.
becomes very dangerous,
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Okay,
And Tara, just thank you so much for all of this. This is like
Yeah.
so
Yeah, this is
informative.
great.
And, and even like, I really appreciate our last meeting when you were showing us the soil density.
oh,
And
yes,
like,
yeah.
just in understanding why,
Mhm.
like, why is it that this playground area, well, the soil is not as absorbent there.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
this is part of the reality of it, so.
That's true,
I'm
yeah.
hoping that if we can share this information with Parks and Recreation, as they're making their decisions about where to put stuff, like, that can be helpful
Yeah, for
as well.
sure, I agree, yeah. And when we have those meetings, anyone is welcome to come and you can kind of hear what's going on, and, I want to get the public information sessions going in November, I'm hoping, like November, December, January, when people aren't so busy, but I gotta get Dr. Abrupta out there first, so he's
Holiday
very good
season's
though.
tough.
Yes, he's very, very good, so.
Nice.
That would be good.
Okay, so we talked about all those different things. The micro e-mobility grant.
Yeah, so we got a grant, the township got a grant, and this really is work going through the Environmental Commission, and it's to form a community energy plan. So we got $10,000 from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities to draft a community energy plan. So, and there's a whole list of requirements that you have to put in there. So as I was going through it and working with Sustainable Jersey, they put together these great templates, and because I'm a planner, it's like I can write this plan, and now I have the information. They basically gave us all the data. I've never had this happen. They literally sent me an email with all of the data relative to Franklin in it, which I was like, oh my gosh. It's like a present, right? So I was like, between this and this, I don't know what we're paying for because I can write this plan. So I was like, I'm just gonna ask BP if we can use the money for something else. Like and they actually said that we could, which was amazing. And the cool thing was, because I had mentioned to them that you gave the presentation for trails, and because of our local health assessment, which a lot of people have identified the lack of intra-local transportation, they said, well, you can use it for a micro-mobility study or an e-mobility study. And I was like, oh, awesome, because we were talking about that in trails, and I remember we were thinking about like DeMont Lane, but maybe JFK is better. But anyway, the township does have a energy consultant on board, and so I have requested a quote from them to do a micro-mobility study. Now, I don't really know exactly what it's gonna be, but what I'm thinking is having them look at our existing trails, where they connect to important destinations in the township and other main roads, and kind of them telling us what type of micro-mobility is recommended, where is the best places, what types of things we need to do for safety and for equity, and accessibility, and have them really kind of draw out some concepts for us that we can then take to, because it's only $10,000, but we can take it then to the council and say, look, we have a study that shows that on DeMott Lane, having, you know, a bike share there would really help people get back and forth to the township buildings and library. I'm just throwing that out there.
And micromobility, the definition is?
We could call like that, Chris knows it, go.
I can imagine, but I don't know.
Something as simple as traditional bicycles to as far as things like e-scooters or e-bikes or but a shared version of it so that either township residents can log on with an app and it could either be free or by some small fee. Perth Amboy just launched their free system to serve the waterfront, and Woodbridge also has a small free system as well.
Yeah. It would be really cool, and it really loops in trails, environmental commission, our health survey, because basically that's a big problem we have in Franklin is people have a hard time getting from the train station into Franklin. The county bus actually does not stop in Franklin. It stops in South Bound Brook, but not in Franklin. So how do you get from there to here? So that's really the idea. So instead of using the money to write a plan that basically they gave me everything I need and I can write it, we can now use it for this, which I think is a much better use of the money. So then it's kind of more of like a partnership with Trails and Environmental Commission once I can get a quote from the consultant. So I'll keep you posted.
I think that's super exciting.
Yeah, I think
That's
it's
really,
cool. I
really
think it's
exciting.
really cool. And it goes to show that if you ask even a ridiculous question
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
because basically I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ask, can we use this money not for what we applied for, like at all? Because it's unnecessary, and they were like actually like common sense, so that was good.
Yeah, because you're gonna get it done
Yeah.
without it, so yeah, that's great.
Oh, yeah, it's perfect, yeah.
And I think, you know, Karen and I talked about this, and I just think it's cool to think about, like, you know, the different, like, roads, you know, that intersect our town, right? You know, and so kind of, if you think about, like, you know, parallel, or practically parallel with DeMott Lane, JFK, and Franklin Boulevard. Like, these are three major roads, and Cedar Grove Lane you could throw in there as well. But, like, you know, to kind of figure out, like, a way to, like, to have a bike share, to have something where you could get from, you know, having a safe route from Franklin
Yes.
Boulevard. So JFK and DeMott are easy, right? But then, like, where do we want to put a bike lane? Do we want to put a bike lane down Franklin Boulevard, or is I don't know if there's one already? Or even the roads that naturally kind of go through connecting.
Yeah.
You know, as a kid on a bike, you figure that out, right? And you're just
Yeah.
constantly
Right.
doing that. So
No,
it'd be
you're right.
awesome if we had, you know, build something up in that way for accessibility. So, you know, and Tara had brought up having the municipal building, the library more accessible. Well, we could even keep that kind of thing in mind. So regardless if you live on DeMott Lane or you live on Franklin
Right.
Boulevard, you have a path, a clear planned path to get there.
I agree, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, the study might highlight other areas. They might be like, you know what, wouldn't it be great if you could partner with New Brunswick? Or wouldn't it be great if you
Yeah.
could partner with South Bound Brook? I mean, the study, I don't know what it's gonna,
Yeah.
Where it's gonna
Unveil.
take us, but we might as well
Yeah.
spur it.
And I think, and Chris, you're gonna be a great resource,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
great
So it works
resource
out
for
even
this.
better. Yeah, that was the perfect timing and a great, I mean, it made an impression on me, your presentation, because that was great.
And with let's see, with our master plan, do we have a bicycle and pedestrian element in it as well? Or a specific bicycle pedestrian?
I don't know that,
circulation?
I think we have a bike ped element, like a portion of our circulation plan, but we
Okay.
don't have a separate bike ped element. No, we don't.
All right, just wondering.
We do not. I know we had a lot of input with the bike, hike, and walk plan, right, for
With
Somerset
Somerset
County?
County.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't have our own,
Okay.
so, yeah.
And I've noticed many more on-street bike lanes,
Mhm.
especially near Elizabeth Avenue and more industrial areas over there. So, yeah, I mean, that might be another place we would want to consider and how commuters may also
Yeah, I
reach those
agree.
regions too.
Yeah, for sure.
But with what's happening in New Brunswick, I mean, they've partnered with Highland Park, which is their neighboring community across the river, for their VO e-scooter system. So, and possibly maybe sections of Franklin Township would also be interested in
Yeah.
reaching the train station using those types of modes of transportation too.
Yeah,
So,
that would be great. That would be excellent.
Yeah, but we're a better partner.
Yeah.
We need to.
world's a big place.
Yeah.
So it could be
Okay.
a whole other conversation.
I'll keep you posted.
Can I just
Okay.
say something? We have like 10 minutes more,
Yeah.
and we have so much more to get through on this agenda. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, and I take some responsibility for not being a good gatekeeper during our pathways and trails
That's
timing.
okay. A few things we can skip past. I don't really have any
Yeah, I think
update
we're
on.
gonna go on speed round mode now.
All right, because
Okay.
some of these things are so important, I don't want to shortchange them also.
Some of them I have to save for next month, just to
Okay.
really do some, like the signage and wayfinding. I don't
Okay.
have any update.
Okay,
So
we
we can skip past that.
the member of vacancies, I do wanna take a minute right now, to let you know, Mark Fortin, who served on this committee for 17 years, and just was, such a significant member, for all of us, and always kept our eye on the prize
Yes.
of trails and the mission and vision of the committee, and, you know, I definitely am so grateful for all that he's done for our committee, and know that I'm going to keep him on my shoulder.
Yes.
And definitely would like to talk to you guys, offline about something that we want to do to celebrate him.
Yes, absolutely.
And we also have, openings, right? So we have a few openings now. And we have, most of our recent events have been canceled. So as far as Franklin Day, the last couple of astronomy hikes where we want to recruit people, we haven't had any luck. So when you are in town, networking, but let's try to keep our feelers out there. I know if we could dig back on some of the records of people who've been regulars on our hikes. I don't have their contact information right now, but if we can get a hold of some of those names and records, then we can reach out. But the easiest thing might just be to schedule a upcoming event, and when they come, try to tap into it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need, because with two members out, it's a little bit difficult in terms of a quorum. Like tonight we have a quorum and it's good, but there might be, could be difficult. So.
Yeah. Okay.
How many vacancies were you aiming to fill?
Two. Yep.
Two. Old business. Tara, is there anything you want to skip from here?
Yeah, I
or-
still don't have any updates. I have to do research on the bird blind. I just haven't been able to get to it yet. I still don't have this response from the person about the plaque. So get on that person.
Jim also did some reconnaissance work on a recent trip down in South Jersey.
Yes, he sent the
And he sent
info,
us
yeah.
pictures of the blind. I mean,
Yes.
there's so many things we could be doing so
For
much
sure.
better.
I have to sit
When
and
you look
actually
at that
spend time
compared
on
to our
that.
crappy thing, it's
Yeah,
like,
as soon as I can get just a few things finished up, I can focus on that.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
and it has to be maintained.
Okay.
Well, and it's made out of that Trex decking. This is down in Cape May, and it's been like that for years, and it just it doesn't decay. I mean, it's
No, it's good.
make the
Yeah.
investment, and you'll never have to touch it again. Really.
Well,
Yeah, and the
plans
area,
are-
the surrounding area has to be maintained
Yeah.
as well, otherwise you
Yeah.
can't see anything.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
Well, one thing I will say about the bird blind, so the budget is presented, the draft budget is presented in February. If that is something that we want to request in the budget, so like that type of material, I mean, maybe we could at least get like a ballpark quote and try and put that in our budget and see if open space will approve it. We could try for that.
So who develops a quote like that? I mean,
Well,
What do we use?
basically just do some research to see how much does that cost roughly, figure it out, I kinda gotta like piece it together to get a request in the budget. Now that's open space, we have to recommend that to move forward into the budget, and then, it would have to be approved. But that would be the process, so it's something we should start thinking about, so next month, hopefully I'll be able to spend some time on that. That's my hope.
also,
Okay.
I'm very aware that we only have a few minutes left. I want to address the October 16th astronomy event. Is there an October 16th astronomy event?
It's a Girl Scout specific
Okay.
one.
Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
yeah.
We've
We
had
have that
terrible luck so
eclipse
far.
coming, that's on the 14th,
Say that
right?
again?
There's that annular eclipse,
Oh.
yeah.
Is it that day?
I think it's on the 14th.
Okay, I don't know.
That's Saturday. This
This is
October?
Saturday, yeah.
There's some
But it's
kind of
gonna
eclipse, yeah.
rain. Nobody will see
Oh,
it.
yeah, okay. That's
Yeah, it's Saturday, right?
that stinks.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, Let's revisit, any hikes, if there's any hikes or trail runs, let's meet after the meeting and connect on that, because we just make sure that those dates go to Parks and Recreation to post.
There is an Audubon-sponsored walk that Chris and Paula Williams are leading this Saturday, the
Okay.
14th, I
It's
believe.
gonna be raining all
At the
week.
grassland.
It's gonna be terrible. The next 2 days are wonderful and the.
Birds don't come in for the rain.
And the last thing we have is the trail conditions and updates. Tara, I don't know if you got my email from
Yes, I have a
last night or
response.
this morning.
This
Oh, you
is my
did?
response that I received. Water main extension for future Catawba Park. Trail was overgrown for machines, so we are opening up. Both projects should be done by next week.
Like the path has doubled in size, and it's just it's traumatic. Like you're just looking at all this stuff that's just been knocked over, and I'm like, I just don't understand so they're doing that for equipment.
They are doing that for the water main extension, for the future Catawba Park. The trail they're saying was overgrown and they couldn't get the machines through, so they're opening up. They're opening it up to get the
Why?
machines through, yeah.
Why?
And they're saying both projects should be done by next week.
Okay, I'm curious to see where they're gonna keep going. And I reported previously that there's a tree that's falling on the brown path
Yes.
past the tree house. And now, not only has it not been tended to, they're mowing around it. So it's almost like, okay, we're not going to remove this tree.
I told them about it, I'll reiterate.
So I don't know, I mean, I guess we could just leave it and do that, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay.
I haven't been to Negri since I took those last pictures.
Okay.
I don't have an update.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't have an update, so I'm good.
Okay. At the John Clyde Grasslands, I've noticed a similar trend as you mentioned, where there's a down tree and they just mow on the vegetation around it. Here's a photo where that patch isn't really there and this trail wasn't here before. So
New trail.
This patch
We have
is
to do a new
there
map.
because a tree had fallen and the debris is gathered in the
Right.
patch. So they just kind of went around it instead of following the same path. Part of it was cleared, and
What
so
trail is this on?
This
What's
is on
that?
the Red Trail.
Red, okay.
So when you're there, it's the
All
Red
right.
Trail. From the entrance, it's to the left. I don't know.
Okay, got it.
Geographically where it's there. I also noticed that on the the orange trail, there are bands around the trees, and I wasn't sure why. Are they due to be, and they're young trees, so I don't know if they're planning on cutting them down or if they were there as trail
Yeah,
markers,
sure.
but it's only around the entrance to the orange trail.
I
So
don't
I'm
know.
sure.
I did not put those there, so I'm not sure.
So
That's
orange
new, that's
bands.
new to me.
Okay.
I've got orange tape, but I didn't put it there.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not to cut it down.
But aside from that, the yellow trail needs some maintenance, and I have to get out there with clippers and
Okay.
things.
I will forward it. Okay, I'll try and find out about why those are flagged too, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, so.
Yeah.
And reminder about the planting Sunday.
Yes, the planting
Van Wickle.
on Sunday. If anyone can make it to the garden at the Van Dyne Van Wickle House, at 1289 Easton Ave, we'll be planting a bunch of native plants that we had a grant there for. So it's between 8:30 and 2. If you can come for any amount of time, that's great. You don't have to stay the whole time. And yeah, hopefully it gets done in that time. So the requirement of the grant is all the plants must be planted within 3 days of receipt. So.
So the pressure is on.
Like, don't let
We are
them
receiving them on
die.
the
Don't let
13th.
them
Yes,
die.
so.
In the rain.
Yeah, yes.
Just as far as Memorial Forest, you know, we didn't adopt that trail, but nobody's adopted that trail, it's very clear.
Yes, yes.
Because it's just, you know, it's very difficult to navigate it at all, so definitely need more trail markers, and just the brown on brown is so tricky.
It is, yeah.
So I think like just, I don't know, my recommendation is we put a white white splotch behind the brown, you know what I mean? Like, so you can just, same thing as this trail, that's so it pops.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
okay.
But
Okay. As long as
there's
you just
definitely,
change it
we
from
definitely need
brown.
more, trail markers, and there, nothing is clear. Like, it was a scavenger hunt.
It was a
It was a lot of
scavenger
fun, but it was like
Just
I'm like, wait a second.
And you see a marker over
I
there.
see a sliver of the back of a marker. So I was like, oh, you can see, like, so you kind of just see the shape because the marker was sticking out. But there were so many, so it was difficult. It was difficult, but I'm a little, I'm not even sure what the start is. But it definitely will probably have to be redone at some point after it's better, more clearly marked.
Okay, all right,
So I
okay,
think about like 3/4 of it is good.
okay.
We
got
made it through.
You did
There you go, Amy.
So you did the whole,
You're alive.
you found the whole loop.
We did.
You found
We found like a
civilization.
horseshoe, and we knew it connected back, so we just, we made it go through.
We can
Wow.
remark it
No,
with
that's-
the
that's
paint
good.
glazes,
'Cause I
because
think
there's no point in
we
waiting
only
for
got
the
about to here.
other markers, I don't think, but
Yeah.
the
There
glazes,
were some
can we
markers
just
that
change
were
it from
the
brown,
other
can we make it
side
something
trees,
else? Like I have
where the
orange, I have
railroad
yellow, I
bridge
have,
was.
can we make it, because the brown is very
Yeah.
difficult, I agree.
Well, I don't think
Yeah,
we've gone over
And then there's
there
not
when we
that
were there.
many, that's if we wanted to like remove the
I sort of
markers.
wandered around.
Maybe we'll make that
area.
orange, only because I have a lot of orange,
Yeah, it's been a
so
while.
that's cool, that works.
And it's like the only trail. It's not like
It
there's
does,
4 or
yeah,
5
we
trails
can-
that
yeah,
are
exactly.
different colors.
Brown, I'd like
White,
to just
brown
get
is
rid
the
of
last
brown
resort.
as a color
That's,
altogether,
yeah.
because it is really hard.
Needs work
Yeah,
at.
it's hard.
So, okay, all right, that works.
Yeah, this is the end.
Okay,
This is very.
so,
Get ready, Anne
with
Marie.
no further trail conditions, can we have a motion to adjourn?
I
the
will
meeting?
adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.